Greetings and namaste. So my apologies, the previous video got cut off while I was in mid-sentence, just about to reveal the first piece of the three-stage eating process. So maybe that's given you some time to think about it. Maybe it hasn't, because maybe you didn't get a chance to watch it before I sort of realized that I need to post videos in succession and get my act together. But anyway, we're talking about not just what you eat, but how you eat, the process of eating. And I've come up with a hopefully a easy to remember way of bringing those three stages into your eating process, or at least trying it out and see if it works for you. I'd love to hear your reaction. This is I always believe wellness is a journey best taken together. While the 99% responsibility is on each of us, our individual selves. When we kind of get together, like anything that's of worth in life, that has meaning, that has purpose, it's much more effective, much bigger, grander, and more fun when done together. So the mnemonic I suggest trying out is called aware and clean. So each of the letters in these two words, aware and clean, stand for different aspects of that eating process, and they're broken down into a 3-3-4 group, which is A.W.A. for the before the eating, and the R.E.C., where R.E. are the last two letters in aware, and C is the first letter of clear. So the R.E.C. as the letters that identify with the during eating, what you need to be aware of during the eating process. And lastly, the last four letters of the word clear, L-E-A-R, which refer to the last four aspects of the post-eating process that also need to be attended to for that complete integrated experience and getting the most out of your meal. So let's look at stage one, or the first phase, which is the before. So the before is A.W.A., and the A stands for attitude, the W stands for water, and the A stands for atmosphere. Now you don't have to think of these as necessarily sequential in terms of how they're present themselves in the word aware, but just think of these as the components that need to come together before the eating process even begins. So let's start with the first one, attitude. Perhaps you have a guess around that already, right? If we eat in the hurry, if we eat under stress, if we eat when we're distracted, how might that affect our nutrition? How might that affect our digestion? Is our body properly attuned to digest that food, or is it distracted with other things? Oh, I gotta finish this email. Oh, I've got this meeting after lunch. Oh, I gotta drive to so-and-so place, and so on and so forth, right? So the more we clutter our eating experience with these non-eating thoughts or concerns, we're basically shortchanging ourselves off that whole experience. In essence, you might not even do it. If something is really more important, let's go ahead and take care of that business, and then come down and with a little more presence, with a little more consciousness, and with a little more joy, enjoy the process of eating, right? There's a difference between eating just to be able to power through the day, and there's a difference between eating where you look forward to the process, the ritual of eating, and have it bring joy and energy to your day. So there's something to be said about where do you draw the line between a sacred space for eating, a sacred space for work, a sacred space for relaxation, a sacred space for entertainment, for nurturing your relationships, and so on and so forth. So attitude is the key first piece that you bring to the mix here. And what I mean by attitude is just getting into that positive frame of mind. Now this could be a prayer. A lot of cultures, indigenous plus a lot of religious traditions, have a ritual of saying grace before every meal. Now, for someone who maybe doesn't believe in, God per se, or a notion of God even, it doesn't really matter. What you're trying to do here is get into that frame of mind. So whatever helps you get there, whether it's a nice piece of music, or whether it's taking some deep breaths to slow down and say, oh, I'm going to be getting into the process of eating soon and nourishing my body, so let me start getting into that groove right now. It could be in the preparation of the food. In Ayurveda, for example, chanting mantras, or even yoga, chanting incantations. And while they're traditionally Sanskrit shlokas, and there's a whole reason why they're so designed, because different shlokas have different vibrations, and you want to influence both the preparation atmosphere with those vibrations, plus get those vibrations into the actual food that's being prepared. But again, as long as you have that energy about you, that is going to transfer into the food that's being prepared. Or if someone's shopping, you're buying a ready-made thing at the grocery store, maybe put that, just give those extra 2 minutes to that experience of just going to the aisle, closing your eyes, and calling into what beckons you on the shelf today. Is it like some leafy greens that your whole person needs, or is it like a warming, comforting soup, or is it a crisp, crunchy salad? What sort of beckons to you? What elements, literally? And we spoke about elements in the Panch Mahabhut not so long ago. Check that out if you'd like. But maybe bring yourself into what element needs nourishing today, or combination, and then go choose your food, go prepare your food, put that energy into it, and maybe see the difference for yourself, feel the difference for yourself, see how your day is different just by doing these little micro changes along the way. So that's sort of the attitude piece, whether it's grace, gratitude, just positive energy, the whole process of preparation with love and kindness and compassion, and a sense of bigness, that things are going to improve as a result of this process. Things are going to be nurtured in a way that they need to be as a result of this whole exercise, would be helpful. So number 2, water. So like I said, not necessarily in order, but if you think about it, if what we need to digest is a strong fire, a strong Agni, as Ayurveda says, then we need to have this fire stoked at the right times. So if you put water on fire, what happens? Does it help the fire or hurt the fire? I think the answer is pretty clear. So by creating a base of a watery base before we ingest food is not exactly conducive to that fire being lit. The fire now has to make its way through this watery layer before it can even get to the food that we're ingesting. So it's as a rule of thumb, maybe at least space a half hour between drinking water or any other sort of liquid before you ingest food or go for a main meal. And definitely a note on the temperature of water. Now, if you think about it, Ayurveda says that one should not have cold water, and it absolutely abhors the notion of having something iced. Now, why is that? For me, it's kind of logical, and hear me out here. So what's our body temperature? 37 degrees Celsius, give or take, 98 degrees Fahrenheit. Who cares about the decimal points, right? But how does that relate to our day? So depending on where you are in the world, it could be 40 degrees and nippy, or almost getting to freezing, or it could be 80 degrees and warm and humid. Now, what's closer to the body temperature? Well, probably 80 degrees. The humidity, not so much, perhaps. But that's what we want to think about, is when you bring something in from the outside, it's going to have an effect on the body. So if you bring something really cold from the outside, like a 40-degree glass of water, or maybe almost a little below that, given it has ice in it, then you're basically saying, hey body, you're at 98 degrees. I'm going to put this icy 40-degree water and see how that throws you off. That's going to shock the system. So that's what we don't want to do, especially before we start stoking our digestive fire. So, and you'll see this turn up yet again in the rehydrate, which is the R of the clear, the last phase, or the third phase, where R is for rehydrate. You also don't want to rehydrate or have more water or liquid, at least till a half hour after food, till when the fire has been able to do at least its initial job, and now it's starting to get down to more of the subsequent processes of nutrient extraction and elimination and separating the toxins from the nutrients and things of that nature. So think about water in both sort of those bookends of this process. You don't want to have it too soon, and you don't want to have it too soon before eating, and you don't want to have it too soon after eating. God bless motorcycles. All right. The last and third letter is A, and that's atmosphere. And again, going back to how are you creating that positive energy? Like I said, playing a piece of music, having a clean, clutter-free space to cook in, having knives that are sharp, and you're not like, this is not, my onions aren't really making the cut today, literally. That's important, setting up that environment, and then having it in an area which is maybe more nature friendly. Try and maybe get outside if you can, if weather allows, or crack the window a little open so you have some of that fresh air coming in as you intake this lovely food. Now, food, as we know, is it takes a lot to grow just one apple. How many days of sunshine, what kind of fertilizer, all the processes the tree goes through, that it needs to tend to, and this, the different days and nights that it is really ripening on the tree, and eventually we get to literally enjoy the fruit of all that labor. So let's maybe take a moment of gratitude and create an atmosphere that respects that process of creation, and gratitude for that apple literally landing in our lap. So maybe sit outside, think of it as a picnic, take a mini picnic, and sit in the fresh air, put on some soothing music maybe, breathe deeply, try not to be distracted with everything else, clear your mind and say, this can wait for 10 minutes. I can put this away for 10 minutes while I nourish myself, right? And then be more mindful of the inner atmosphere and the outer atmosphere, and bring those together to really make a difference. So on that note, I'm going to wind this up here. Hopefully you enjoy all 3 videos of the before, during, and the after stages, and be aware and clear. So this is Shiva signing off, wishing wellness for all.